Yes, my hair is a bit wet, but truthfully, after filming this video, I really needed a shower. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Instagram, Twitch, if you fancy saying hi. I have been planning to make this video since the end of 2019. It's been a journey, and I'm not even talking about the run. So in 2019, me and Jean moved to Liverpool so that he could complete his year placement. Once we moved, he decided that he was going to run the Liverpool Marathon. And my God, did that boy train? It was like living with The Rock. Like, that man was always in the gym. And it got me thinking, running a marathon, it takes hard work. It takes determination and an incredible level of self-discipline. All things that I do not have. But like, running a marathon is cool. It's a trump card. It instantly makes you better than everyone else. And, you know, I want to be better than everyone else. So I thought, what if I did that, but just didn't train for it? So me and Jean signed up for the Liverpool Marathon. And I don't need to tell you what happened next. Miss Rona's what happened next. And she came in throwing punches like her name was McGregor. It wasn't great, and the marathon unsurprisingly got cancelled, as well as going outside. That was cancelled also. Absolutely no outside time. So the marathon idea kind of got pushed to the back of my mind, and then in January 2021, everyone was on their usual January grind. You know, the rise and shine, it's running time, let's be fit and healthy for just 31 days. And I remembered about the marathon idea, and I decided that I would run it in January. And then I was facing another KO. Not from Miss Rona this time, but actually from CFS, which is not the name of like some undercard fighter, or the name of that sofa store that suspiciously always seems to have a sale on. I actually have a condition called chronic fatigue syndrome, and chronic fatigue is usually categorized by this extreme fatigue and tiredness, but there are lots of other symptoms that can go along with it too. For me, the two main symptoms that I face are the tiredness, but also extreme muscle and body pain. And once I started to get better from the flare-up, I was several weeks behind on my work, but also on my uni work, and I had exams. So, again, the marathon kind of got pushed to the back of my mind, and I completely forgot about it. And that takes us to today, and why I kind of have to run this marathon now. But before we get into me trying to run a marathon with absolutely no training, we've got to take a little stop at everyone's favourite corner. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Integration Corner, your favourite corner. And the reason I know that is because, you know, probably most of the corners that you spent time in growing up were naughty corners, because you were a very poorly behaved child. Today we're talking about a friend of the channel, a fun, fruity, fresh friend. It's HelloFresh. HelloFresh offers seasonal recipes and fresh, pre-measured ingredients delivered directly to your door. They are America's #1 meal kit for pretty obvious reasons. I'm going to tell you those reasons, just because, you know, I fancy spoiling you. Probably my personal favourite thing about HelloFresh is the sheer amount of recipes that they offer you each week. It's so hard to choose which ones you actually want, because they all look absolutely delicious. And I don't use that word lightly. What makes it even more delicious is the fact that it completely removes the stress out of cooking. Everything you need is right there, the spices are pre-measured. You can have dinner on the table within 30 minutes, and even sometimes 20 with their quick and easy options. Especially as it gets hotter, I don't want to be using the oven. So this year, HelloFresh have launched summer-only limited edition recipes and specials to keep you cool during the heat. Because everything on HelloFresh is pre-portioned and measured, it means that you, as an individual or as a family, or I don't know, the clan, I don't know what your living situation is. It means less prep for you, but also way less food waste. You're not throwing away that precious goods and it ends up in a landfill. I'm so happy that HelloFresh wanted to do another sponsorship with me, because I got so many comments from you guys saying that you love them and you really, really couldn't wait to try them, which made me feel really good because I love them too. So if you would like to try HelloFresh to yourself, go to hellofresh.com and use my code Ellbat14 to receive 14 free meals, including free shipping. Okay, so I am about to start my run. Truthfully, I don't know if this is gonna happen. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this, but I figured it's always worth a shot. And even if I can't do it, I want to go as far as I can. We often just kind of write things off as impossible or unachievable. And the truth is they're always unachievable if you don't try to achieve them. I've got my headphones, I've got my running app, which will help me calculate the miles. I've also got my watch, which will help me track distance. I'm gonna check in with you guys. Yawning already, that is not a good sign. I'm gonna check in with you guys every mile or so. I'm gonna be filming on my phone because my camera will be too bulky to bring with me. All that's left to do is to go. Why am I doing this? I'm so tired today. I really just woke up and decided to run a marathon. Like, who does that? Now, I really don't want this video to seem like I'm just complaining about my body. I'm very grateful for the condition that my body is. I'm very, very fortunate and I'm so aware of that. But I'm telling you this because it kind of makes sense for the narrative of the video. I have a condition called hip impingement. And for those of you that don't know, hip impingement is where the ball of your hip grinds and pinches on the socket or cup of your hip. Now this over time causes the cartilage to dissolve, which can lead to extreme pain, stiffness in the hips, and eventually arthritis. This essentially means that when I walk, when I do exercise, especially if I do a lot of it, I end up in quite a bit of pain. There is treatment for this condition, especially if you catch it earlier on. It starts with physical therapy, and then if that doesn't help, you can get surgery. But unfortunately for me, the surgery has a recovery time of 4 to 6 weeks per hip. Now, currently, I'm not in a position where I can take 2 to 3 months away from my job. And I also can't take that time off of school either. So it means that for the foreseeable future, those aren't viable options for me. If I don't do this now, my chances of succeeding at it in the future are significantly less. And I want to give myself the best chance to succeed. I feel like it's important at this point to tell you that the longest distance that I've ever ran consecutively is 4 miles, which is like, what, 6.5, 7 kilometers? It's not far off of the 26 miles needed to complete a marathon. And for reference, that's when I was at my absolute fittest when I was like 15 years old. I'm now 22. And I exercise maybe once every 2 weeks. So when I tell you that this is with no training, I could not mean it more. There zero training of any kind, actually. Not just for this marathon. There's been zero physical activity in the vicinity for some time now. Mile 1, I had the worst stitches that I've ever had. It was all down the left side of my abdomen, and I felt an asthma attack coming, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, mile 1 done. I think it's gonna be a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. I've already got like 3 stitches in places I didn't even know you could get stitches, so wish me luck. I can't lie, I did actually consider giving up on mile 1, but when I realised that that didn't really count as a marathon attempt, I continued out of a fear of how embarrassing that would have been. Mile 2 was the one that kind of, I met the make or break in my mental space. Because 2 miles, honestly speaking, is the furthest that I've ran in a lot of years. Okay, we're coming up upon mile 2 and it's just started to rain. Oh, it's going so well. I'm so pleased. This is such a good idea. Please like the video. Please. I'm halfway to a severe stitch crisis and a small asthma attack. When I hit that 2 mile mark, that's when I realised that this was going to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I know that that sounds really stupid because in theory, just looking at the numbers of a marathon, like you recognise that is far. The amount of work that people put into running marathons, it should have been very obvious that this was going to be hard. But for some reason, I think I had lost complete conceptual understanding of how far a mile was. I think when you drive around in a car for so long, you kind of just forget how far a mile is. And mile 2, I realised, and it was on mile 2 with my hips starting to hurt, with the stitches, with struggling not to have an asthma attack. It was at that moment that I decided I was really gonna give this a go. I decided that instead of running around somewhat aimlessly, I was gonna set a course to my parents' house, which is around 11 miles from where I currently was.
3-mile check-in. The rain is pretty consistent now. I've started to notice some aches, particularly in my left hip, which is my worst hip, which is a bit of a pain, but I felt like most of it is like quite easy to overcome when you push through. So for the first 2 miles, I had constant stitches. It just hurt all the time, and now they're gone. It just goes to show that sometimes it's as much mental as it is physical. I have been running on the main road so far, which is why it's so noisy, but I actually think it would be better if I ran a bit more on the side roads, a bit more nature, a bit quieter, a bit less pollution. And I've actually plotted a course now. So I'm gonna run to my parents' house. We're in the rain, mile 3, and we're still going. So it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not fast, but we already know I'm not gonna be fast.
I realized that if I ran to my parents and then ran back, I would have achieved the full marathon, 26 miles, which isn't actually true. It would actually be 25 miles, which would put me 1.2 miles short. But if I'm honest with you, I was really tired by mile 2, and my maths has never been great to begin with, let alone when I'm physically exhausted. So, you know, the heart was there. Now, the downside of choosing to go to my parents' house, which at the time I didn't really think about, was the fact that it's pretty much entirely uphill.
It's raining pretty bad. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, but truthfully, I'm really happy right now.
I want to use that "I am crazy, but I am free" TikTok sound, but it's going to get copyright striked. So just envision that playing slow-mo over what I just said, and that will have the intended humor effect. Thank you.
Don't mind me. I'm just a girl stood in the pouring rain of a Tesco's parking lot trying to run a marathon because that's what she decided to do when she woke up this morning.
As I ran, I began to focus a lot less on the distance. I began to look at my phone or my watch a lot less and just focus on the run. I found that it actually gave me a lot of headspace, and after mile 3 and 4, my stitches had completely stopped. I could breathe pretty much fine. I was really starting to become confident that this was mind over matter. This was, if I want to, I can. And I will.
5 miles done. I'm really starting to notice pain in my hip. Really badly. It's like stopping me from running quite a lot, which isn't ideal, but I'm not gonna stop. At this current point in time, pre-hip hop, this is the best my hips will ever be. So if I can't do it now, I'm not gonna be able to do it for several years. So I may as well just keep going. By the way, I wouldn't advise anyone else do what I'm doing right now, because it's not medical advice. Generally, if something hurts, you should probably stop. You should definitely stop. But I'm an idiot, and this is precisely why you shouldn't listen to random people on the internet. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. And I say, listen to your doctor. Mile 5. Just 21 more to go. Woo!
Around miles 6 and 7, I began to alternate between walking and running a lot more. I'm not going to sit here and say I ran the whole thing, because that is just not possible with someone who has hips like mine. I tried to walk pretty fast when I did walk, so as to keep my heart rate up and to keep covering distance, but I needed that time to help recuperate my breath a bit, because even though I was pretty good at keeping on top of my breathing, I haven't trained for this.
7 miles completed. I'm losing my nerve and my determination. But nevertheless, we move. The weather is so bad. It's just, it downpours for like 20 minutes and then it stops for like 20 minutes and the cycle continues. I want to be in that, but unfortunately, my route is taking me to that.
At the end of mile 8 was when I really encountered the hills. Now, it's kind of hard to see from the videos, but the uphill got pretty brutal around this point in time.
It's so steep. My calves and my hips are burning in ways I didn't even know were possible. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna need to do a bit of power walking for a bit.
The pressure of running uphill began to cause pain in my hips, so I did have to take this slow. As I entered mile 11, that was when I began to realize just how much of a mind game this was. At this point, my lungs were burning, my hips were hurting, I felt pure pain in my thighs and in my calf muscles. I really had to fight every minute to keep going, because I knew that if I stopped running, if I stopped walking, and I took a break, I wasn't going to start again. As I walked up to my parents' house, there was this moment where, even though I was near enough done, I could feel that my body wasn't okay. There was this moment where the sun kind of hit my face. This emotional music started playing from the Yes Theory video, and I just felt so alive. And even though my body was screaming at me, I was almost grateful for it. I was grateful that I was there and able to experience that, because I know that the pain would pass tomorrow. I knew that I would heal and grow from it. I felt strong and capable, even though arguably I was the weakest I had been in a really long time. So, did I do it? Did I run a marathon with absolutely no training? Well, no. But I did do half.
Dude, my parents' house is just around the corner. I did a half marathon. I know it wasn't a full one, but I did a half. And I don't think I've ever been as proud of myself as I am right now. Woo! I would honestly cheer a lot louder, but I don't know if you can tell, but there isn't a single piece of energy left in my body.
I ran half a marathon, or I kind of ran. I half ran, half walked, half speed walked kind of thing. It was a combination of a lot of different modes of leg transportation. Some faster than others, but ultimately I kept going as fast as I could at all times for half of a marathon. The total distance I ran was 22 kilometers. When I decided to do this video, truthfully, I thought I would get maybe 6 miles. 10 at a push. I really wanted to do more, but I had no confidence in the abilities of my body because of mainly my hips, but also my general lack of fitness. I just didn't think it was possible. And yes, my body right now is in a lot of pain. Like, you should see me walk. It is quite funny. But I'm happy. I'm proud of myself, and I genuinely feel really good. Ultimately, what I hope that you take away from this video, if you take away anything other than the fact that, you know, got the hips of an old lady. We are often capable of so much more than we think we are. And if we stop putting limits on ourselves, on our capabilities, we can achieve far beyond our expectations. If you liked today's video, don't forget to give it a cheeky little thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. It's a free world, you do you, boo. Don't forget to check out YDYB. It's my sustainable and ethical clothing brand. Click the link in the pinned comment or in the description. Thank you very much to HelloFresh for fueling me during this journey. Click the link in the description. 10 out of 10. Could not recommend enough. I lost so many bodily fluids in the making of this video that I am just in a constant state of dehydration. Don't be like me. Drink your water. Kisses to your mother. Dude, do you want to get some HelloFresh? Confirmed. It comes with a cat.